The reality is, most of us didn't go to business school. We don't come into being entrepreneurs or business owners with this awesome framework on how things need to be done. You're never going to get to those better outcomes unless you put the proper systems and operations in place. So the longer that you do without systems, the longer that you depend on just your team getting it right or getting it mostly right. Over the last 20 years, I've helped several companies get back to the dream they had when they opened their company. The reality is, most of us didn't go to business school. We don't come into being entrepreneurs or business owners with this awesome framework on how things need to be done. So we use common sense that just says, work a lot, do everything you can, and just pour your heart and soul, your blood, sweat, and tears into this business. And that's what a lot of you do, especially in construction. You guys just go all in, and I'm watching it. But the reality is there is a better way to do this. Let me help you get back to that dream where you had the time that you wanted, the profit in your business that you wanted, all with a company that was running without depending on you. The reason it's hard to accept that you're in a chaotic business or that your days are literally just chaotic is because most of us decide that if I say that this is chaos, then I'm blaming my team. I'm saying my team is lazy or, we're kind of pointing fingers. And that's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in order to be out of chaos, you must have systems and clear definition in your business. An easy example is when your employees arrive to work, do they know what the expected win of the day is for them? Not for the team, not just to get things done, not that everything is complete before we close the door, but does each person know what they are responsible for, how this helps the team to complete those overall goals? Have you defined the roles on your team? Have you defined the outcomes that you expect from each of them? And have you defined the bigger goal for the company so that everybody understands their part in getting to a team win? That's the difference between a chaotic company and one that operates specifically with systems in place. Your chaos, on the other hand, looks like I'm just going to do what it takes, what is required today, and everybody is just all hands in every single day. And what it really does is just create frustration. It creates confusion, and it just doesn't allow you to be at your best because you're literally always coming in to put out the hottest fire. There's a trap that a lot of us fall into where we believe if I just work a few more hours, or if I just stay about an hour after the rest of the team, if I'm willing to give my time, that will fix the problem. The challenge is you've tried that over and over and over. And every single project brings you right back to that same trap of a solution where you really think you can just work longer hours and get to better outcomes. You're never going to get to those better outcomes unless you put the proper systems and operations in place so that you know what is expected, you know who's responsible for it, and you know that you're going to hit your goals. Since the long hours are not going to solve your problem and you don't have a fully operating system in place to run your business, the profit method is going to teach you how you can start to work toward that goal. The first point is to pinpoint your goals. If everyone understands what we are aiming to do, and it's not just finish the product, but it's calling clients back in a certain time frame, getting estimates back, responding to insurance companies, whatever it is, you need to set some very specific goals for the task at hand so your staff understands what the aim and what their responsibilities are. So that's the first thing, is always whenever you give anyone on your team a task, it has to come with a goal. Like, here is what you're trying to accomplish. Here is the desired outcome. That's first. Second is to consider the team member that you are giving that role to. Is this person capable? Do they understand how to get to that outcome? If not, that's where you need to do the training and teach them. It's not about your team not being lazy or uneducated, but the reality of today is you ask someone to do a task, they're guessing about what you want the outcome to be, and they're just doing anything that they think of to get to the goal that they made up. So in my method, you're going to say, hey, I need these estimates done today by 5 p.m. and after 5, they need to be emailed to this person. That way, they understand how they need to structure their day to get that thing done. And if they're not capable to do it, you can then give them the tools, whether it's systems, whether it's a YouTube video, a training. They understand I need to learn how to get this done, or I need to learn this thing so that I'm finished by 5 and hand this off. That way, you're also not bombarded all day long with questions. Well, what is this? What about that? You're giving them the tools in order to learn and do what you have set out for them to do. One thing that all of you deal with is estimates for your clients. And that just has so many steps and so many layers, right? So let's talk about how using the profit method makes that a simple thing versus the way that a lot of you are doing it right now. So currently, when clients call, they will ask you, hey, can you do this type of work? We've seen your Instagram or whatever they saw to find you, and they made the call. Now an appointment has to be set up. You need to go out and assess the property. You need to come back and run all your numbers to decide how much is this job going to cost. There's a million additional layers when you're a roofer and you're adding in the insurance, because now things have to go to the insurance the exact way that the insurance expects for it to come in. Once those estimates are done, then the client has to review. The client may ask for something new and you have to adjust, but then at that same time, materials have to start to be ordered and all these other factors start to come into play that may also change your numbers or maybe even your profit of that project. So who is getting all of those different things done? Currently, you have your office staff. When emails come in, they put them with the right client. Like everything is kind of done because it's the responsible thing to do. However, the profit method would tell you, one, let's pinpoint the goal. Email has to always be checked within a 24, 36-hour period. And this is how we define the client's name or the project name, and everything is clearly laid out. When those emails come in, when those supplements come in, when all those pieces of information that change that estimate come in, there's a person who's responsible for collecting that information. There's also a person responsible to make the adjustments to the estimate and to the contract that the client will ultimately sign. When those things aren't done, when pieces are missing, what is currently happening is you lose. You're losing profit. I see it all the time, especially with roofers. When you are sending things out, the insurance says, hey, we don't want to pay you for that. And you have to prove to them that that's a necessary piece of the project. You need to now wait until that comes back in so that you're ensured that you're being paid. But what if somebody misses that point? What if they're not checking? What if all the boxes aren't being checked? And now you have a contract that when you go to execute on that contract, your profit is shrinking. So instead of making, let's say, $25,000 profit on that project, you're now down to about $10,000. And I've seen it over and over again, especially dealing with the insurance companies. So what can you do? You can decide that, one, the goal is we're going to increase our profit by 10% on every project. That means paying closer attention to the emails that are coming in, following up with the insurance, making sure that before that project date starts, everything has been reviewed, because that's how a lot of things are missing, right? And when those things are missing, currently, what you do is, I'm not going to beat up my team. They did their best job. We still made $15,000 profit. So you're okay with that because you are constantly getting new work. So you're not taking the time to go back and say, I'm losing profit on every job because there's always a new job. But the reality is, if you have to take 10 jobs to get the same profit of 5, don't you think it makes more sense to spend the time and do 5 and make a bigger profit? That's less time, less contracts, less running around for your team, less frustration, less things missed. The reality is, if you put the system in place, it makes taking the 5 jobs more profitable, but it also gives you the understanding, what is the bandwidth of my team? What can we handle and stay in this profit range? And then you can just increase that with your system. So your system is not a way to slow you down, point the finger, and have fault on your team. It really is a way to say, who's responsible for what? When is this review happening? How are the adjustments being made? And at the end of the day, all of those things point back to your profit. So the longer that you do without systems, the longer that you depend on just your team getting it right or getting it mostly right, that is the longer you are losing money. You're literally leaving money on the table with every single project. So I'm not telling you this because I want you to work with me. Literally, this has been a challenge, you know it is. And that's why you spend so many hours just making sure things are done, because you never defined how you want them done. So I don't want you to stay in that place. I want you to understand there are some simple things you can do with pinpointing your goals and defining the roles on your team that will literally instantly increase your profit. It may feel daunting to sit in your daily fires and think, can I really make this happen? Can I really organize my team? And the short answer is yes. We would love to help you define the first few steps that's going to lead you to having a more profitable team. Go to my website, schedule a time for us to meet.